I spent 18 months working overtime, skipping nights out with friends and saving every dollar I could just to buy my car. It was not the fanciest ride on the road, but it was mine. Every scratch I avoided, every oil change I remembered. Every weekend I spent washing it in the parking lot of my apartment building felt like an investment in something bigger than transportation. It felt like freedom. It felt like proof that hard work pays off. But I never thought the person who would destroy it would be family. I never imagined that the wreckage would not just be metal and glass, but trust. Before I dive into what happened, let me ask you something. Where are you watching this from? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you are enjoying the story so far, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Because what my stepsister did next, and how my own father reacted, you will not believe it. Trust me, you will want to stick around for this one. Let me take you back to where it all started. My name is Burton, and I am 26 years old. I work at a tech company doing software development. It is not a glamorous job, but it pays the bills and keeps me comfortable. I live in a studio apartment about 20 miles from my dad's place, and I have been on my own since I turned 22. Independence has always been important to me. I like knowing that everything I have, I earned. 3 years ago, my dad remarried. Her name is Diane, and she is in her 40s. She works as a teacher at a local middle school. She brought her daughter Amber into the picture. Amber was 18 at the time, fresh out of high school, and heading into college. Now she is 21, studying communications at the state university. Our relationship has always been polite, but distant. We are not close. We do not hang out. We exchange pleasantries at family dinners, and that is about it. Amber still lives with my dad and Diane in their 2-story house, in a quiet suburban neighborhood. It has a decent-sized garage and a backyard. It is the kind of place that looks picture-perfect from the outside. I visit maybe 2 or 3 times a month usually, on weekends or during holidays. The visits are fine. We eat dinner, talk about work and school, and I leave. Nothing dramatic, nothing complicated. At least that is how it used to be. When I turned 24, I made a decision. I was going to buy a car. Not just any car, but something reliable and clean. Something I could be proud of. I started saving aggressively. I picked up freelance coding projects on the weekends and cut back on expenses. No more eating out. No more impulse buys. Every paycheck went straight into my savings account. 18 months later, I had $13,500 saved up. I found a 2014 silver Honda Accord in excellent condition. The previous owner had taken care of it and it showed. I paid cash for it. No loans, no debt, just mine. I treated that car like it was my child. I washed it every single week. I kept the interior spotless. I upgraded the sound system myself. I even kept a fresh pine air freshener hanging from the rearview mirror. Driving it to work every morning made me feel accomplished. It was a symbol of everything I had worked for. I loved that car. One Saturday afternoon, I drove over to my dad's house for lunch. It was a warm day and everyone seemed relaxed. After we ate, I was sitting in the living room when Amber walked in. She looked frustrated. "Hey, Burton," she said, leaning against the doorway. "Can I borrow your car? Mine is in the shop and I need to meet some friends." I looked up at her. "Sorry, Amber. I do not lend my car to anyone. It is a personal rule." Her face changed immediately. She looked offended. "Seriously. It is just for a few hours. I know, but I do not make exceptions. It is nothing personal." She crossed her arms. "That is so selfish. You are acting like it is some kind of treasure." "It is important to me," I said calmly. "I worked hard for it, and I just prefer not to lend it out." She rolled her eyes and stormed off without another word. I looked over at Diane, who was watching from the kitchen. She gave me a look that said she was not happy with my answer, but she did not say anything. My dad, Frank, who was sitting in his recliner, sighed. "Come on, Burton," he said. "It is just a car. Family helps family." I felt the pressure in the room shift. "I understand that, Dad. But this is my boundary. I am not comfortable lending out my car. He shook his head but did not push it further. The rest of the afternoon felt awkward. I left earlier than I planned, just to avoid more tension. On the drive home, I kept asking myself if I had been too harsh. But deep down, I knew I had made the right call. It was my car, my rules. 3 days later, on a Tuesday night, I was getting ready for bed. It was 11:47 p.m., and I had just finished brushing my teeth when my phone rang. I glanced at the screen. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. "Hello. Is this Burton?" a man's voice asked. "Yes. Who is this?" "This is Officer Rodriguez, from the Hillside Police Department. We have your vehicle here. There has been an accident. My stomach dropped." "What?" "My car. But it is parked downstairs." "Sir, can you confirm your license plate number?" I recited it, my hands starting to shake. "That is correct," he said. "The vehicle was involved in a single-car collision. The driver is okay, but the car sustained significant damage. You will need to come down to the station." "Who was driving?" I asked, my voice rising. I did not lend it to anyone. There was a pause. "A young woman. She had your spare key. She says she is your sister." My heart stopped. "Amber, how did she get my key?" I demanded. "You will have to discuss that with her, sir. Can you come down to the station?" I hung up and stood there in shock for a few seconds. Then I threw on clothes and called an Uber. I did not have a car to drive, because mine was apparently totaled. The ride to the police station felt like it took forever. My mind was racing. How did Amber get my spare key? Why would she steal my car? When I arrived at the station at 12:35 a.m., Officer Rodriguez met me at the front desk. He was a middle-aged man with a serious but kind face. "Follow me," he said. He led me outside to the impound lot, and when I saw my car, my knees almost gave out. The front end was completely destroyed. The hood was crumpled, like a tin can. The windshield was shattered into a spiderweb of cracks. Both airbags had deployed. The front tires were bent at unnatural angles, and oil was leaking onto the pavement. I leaned against the fence, unable to speak. 2 years of work, gone, just like that. She was driving approximately 55 miles per hour in a 35 zone. Officer Rodriguez said quietly. She lost control at a curve and hit a utility pole. She is lucky she was not hurt worse. "Where is she?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Inside. Your father and stepmother are already here." Officer Rodriguez led me into a small waiting room. Amber was sitting in a plastic chair looking disheveled. She had a bandage on her forehead, and her eyes were red from crying. Diane and Frank were standing near her. The moment I walked in, Amber looked up at me with this pathetic expression. "What the hell were you thinking, Amber?" I said, my voice shaking with anger. "I am sorry," she sobbed. "I did not mean to. I just needed the car, and I thought you would not notice for a few hours." "You stole my key," I yelled. "How did you even get it?" She looked down. "I found the spare in your room last time I visited. It was in the drawer." I felt my face go hot. 3 months ago, I had left my spare key in the nightstand of my old bedroom at my dad's house. I had not moved all my stuff out yet. She must have gone through my things and taken it. "So you stole it," I said flatly. "You stole my key, and then you stole my car." "It was not like that," she said weakly. "Then what was it like, Amber?" "Because from where I am standing, it looks like theft. And now my car is totaled." Frank stepped forward. "Burton, calm down. It was an accident. Amber is okay. That is what matters." I turned to look at my father in disbelief. "Calm down. She stole my car, drove it drunk, and destroyed it. And you are telling me to calm down?" "She is your sister," he said. "Mistakes happen." "She is not my sister," I said coldly. "She is your stepdaughter. And this was not a mistake. It was a crime." Diane jumped in defensive. "Burton, do not be so dramatic. Insurance will cover it." I laughed bitterly. Insurance. Do you have any idea how much my premium is going to go up? And she is being charged with a DUI. That is on my car registration. Do you understand what that means? Amber was still crying. I will pay you back, I swear. With what money, I snapped. You do not even have a job. Officer Rodriguez cleared his throat. Sir, I need to inform you that the driver was administered a breathalyzer test. Her blood alcohol content was 0.09%, which is above the legal limit of 0.08. She has been charged with driving under the influence. I felt like I was going to be sick. Not only had she stolen my car, but she had driven it drunk. She could have killed someone. She could have killed herself. And all my dad could say was that it was an accident. Burton, please, Amber said, reaching out toward me. I stepped back. Do not touch me. Do not talk to me. We are done. I turned and walked out of the station. I called another Uber and went home. I sat in the dark in my apartment for hours, unable to sleep. My car was gone. My family had betrayed me, and no one seemed to care. Over the next few days, I dealt with the fallout. I called my insurance company and filed a claim. They told me the car was a total loss. After the deductible of $1,000, they would pay me $8,500. That was it. The car I had paid $13,500 for 2 years ago was now worth less than 2/3 of what I paid. I also had to rent a car while I figured out what to do next. $45 a day added up fast. My dad called me on Wednesday. Burton, I think you are overreacting. Amber feels terrible. Does she? I asked. Because I have not gotten a real apology. Just excuses. You are being selfish, he said. Family forgives. Family also respects each other. I shot back. Family does not steal. Fine, he said, his voice hard. If that is how you feel, maybe you should not come around anymore. Maybe I will not, I said, and hung up. Diane sent me a text later that day. You are making this harder than it needs to be. Amber is going through a tough time. She needs support, not judgment. I did not respond. Amber texted me too. I am really sorry, Burton. I know I messed up. Can we talk? I blocked her number. I made a decision that day. I was done. I cut off all contact with Amber and Diane. I kept minimal contact with my dad, but only because he is still my father. But even that was cold and distant. I stopped visiting. I stopped calling. I focused on my life and my work. 3 months passed. I bought a used Toyota Camry with the insurance money. It was older and not as nice as the Accord, but it ran well, and it was mine. I rebuilt my life piece by piece. I threw myself into my job. I reconnected with old friends. I started to feel like myself again, and honestly, cutting off that toxic part of my family felt like a weight had been lifted. 3 months and 2 weeks after the accident, I was sitting in my apartment on a Saturday morning drinking coffee and reading a book. My phone rang. It was my dad. I hesitated, then picked up. Burton, we need to talk, he said, about what it is about Amber. She is in a tough spot right now. I did not say anything. Diane and I are separating, he continued. Diane is moving to Oregon to stay with her sister, and Amber cannot afford to live on her own. Why are you telling me this? I asked. She needs a place to stay, just temporarily. I thought maybe you could help her out. I almost laughed. No, Burton, please. She is family. She stole from me, I said. She lied. She destroyed my property. And you took her side. Why would I ever help her? I know I handled it badly, he admitted. But she has changed. She has been going to AA meetings. She is trying. Good for her, I said. But that does not make her my responsibility. I am asking you as your father. As my father, I repeated. Where were you when I needed you to stand up for me? My answer is no. Goodbye, Frank. I hung up. I felt relieved. I had set my boundary, and I had stuck to it. 2 days later, on Monday evening, I got home from work, around 7:30. I was exhausted. I unlocked my apartment door, stepped inside, and heard the doorbell ring. I sighed and opened it. Amber was standing there. She had 2 large suitcases beside her. She was wearing an oversized hoodie and ripped jeans. Her eyes were puffy like she had been crying for days. "Hi, Burton," she said quietly. I stared at her in disbelief. "What are you doing here?" "I did not know where else to go. You need to leave. Please, Burton, just hear me out." "No," I said firmly. "You stole from me. You ruined my car. You lied about it. I do not owe you anything." "I know I messed up," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I have been trying to make things right. I am in therapy. I am sober now. I just need a place to stay for a few weeks until I can find a job and get on my feet. That is not my problem." "Where else am I supposed to go?" she asked desperately. "Dad's place is too small now that Diane left. I do not have any friends I can stay with. I have nowhere." "You should have thought about that before you stole my car." She tried another angle. "We are family, Burton. Does not that mean anything to you?" "Family respects each other," I said. "You did not respect me." "I will pay you back," she said. "Every cent for the car. I will do anything. I will clean your apartment. I will cook. I will pay rent when I can." "I do not want your help," I said. "I want you gone." I noticed my neighbor, Mrs. Patel, an elderly Indian woman peeking out from her door. I felt uncomfortable having this conversation in the hallway. "Amber, I am closing this door now," I said. "If you do not leave, I will call the police." "Please," she begged. "I am begging you." I looked at her one last time, then closed the door. She stood outside for another 10 minutes crying. I watched through the peephole. Eventually, she picked up her suitcases and left. I felt nothing but relief. I had held my ground. A few hours later, my dad called. He was furious. "How could you turn her away? She was crying on your doorstep." "She made her choices," I said calmly. "Now she is dealing with the consequences. You are heartless." "No," I said. "I am done being a doormat. You chose her over me 3 months ago. Now, you expect me to fix your mess. Not happening." "Fine," he yelled. "Do not ever call me again." He hung up. I sat there in the silence of my apartment and felt free. For the first time in months, I felt like I had control over my life. Setting boundaries was not cruel. It was self-respect. A week later, my dad sent me a long email. It was an apology. He admitted he had been wrong to take Amber's side. He said he should have backed me up. I read the email and felt nothing. It was too little too late. I replied with a short message. "I appreciate the apology, but trust is earned, not given. I need time." He did not reply. Meanwhile, my life kept moving forward. I got promoted at work to a senior developer position. My salary jumped from $65,000 to $82,000 a year. I used the extra money to pay off debts, start a savings fund for a better car, and take a weekend trip to the coast. I also started dating someone. Her name is Jenna. She is in her late 20s and works as a graphic designer. We met at a coffee shop one afternoon. We bonded over our love of hiking and indie music. I told her about the whole family drama. Her response was simple. "You did the right thing." Boundaries are healthy. That meant more to me than she knew. The first few weeks after I cut contact with my family were hard. I felt guilty. I kept asking myself if I was too harsh. Should I have helped Amber? Was I a bad person? I had trouble sleeping. I replayed conversations over and over in my head. But slowly, things started to get clearer. I decided to see a therapist. Jenna had suggested it, and I figured it could not hurt. His name is Dr. Matthews, a middle-aged man with a calm demeanor. In one of our early sessions, he said something that stuck with me. Setting boundaries is not about punishing others. It is about protecting yourself. That hit me hard. I realized I was not responsible for Amber's choices. Enabling bad behavior does not help anyone. It just perpetuates the cycle. Self-respect is more important than people-pleasing. I started reconnecting with old friends I had neglected during all the family drama. Kyle, a buddy from college, who now works in finance, and Marcus, a coworker who loves basketball. We started hanging out again. I joined a recreational soccer league, something I used to love, but had stopped doing. I also started journaling. Writing down my thoughts helped me process everything. 6 months after the accident, I had saved enough to buy a better car. This time I went for a certified pre-owned Mazda CX-5, a 2017 model. I paid cash, no loan. I felt proud. I had rebuilt my life without anyone's help. My relationship with Jenna grew stronger. We had been dating for 4 months. She introduced me to her family and they were warm and welcoming. No manipulation, no guilt trips. Just genuine care. It showed me what healthy family dynamics looked like. At work, I was excelling in my new role. I led a successful mobile app development project and got recognition from the CEO. I felt fulfilled professionally. One night, I ran into Kyle at a bar. We were catching up when he said, "Hey, did not your stepsister go to State University?" I paused. "Yeah, why, I saw her at a job fair last week," he said. "She was handing out resumes. She looked different, more put together." I nodded slowly. Huh. I wondered if Amber really had changed, but I did not reach out. I thought to myself, good for her if she is turning her life around, but that does not change what happened. I did not contact her. She did not contact me. My dad still sent occasional texts on birthdays and holidays. I replied politely but briefly. The relationship remained distant but civil. And I realized something important. Not all stories have a neat reconciliation. Sometimes moving on means moving apart, and that is okay. One Sunday morning, I was sitting on my apartment balcony with a cup of coffee. I looked back on the past year and realized how much I had grown. I learned that you cannot pour from an empty cup. I cannot help others at the expense of my own well-being. Self-care is not selfish. It is necessary. I also learned that family is more than blood. Real family respects you, supports you, and stands up for you. Jenna, Kyle, Marcus. They are my chosen family now. Blood relation does not excuse toxic behavior. I learned that boundaries are acts of love. By setting boundaries, I protected myself. But I also did not enable Amber's destructive patterns. Sometimes saying no is the kindest thing you can do. And I learned that forgiveness does not require reconciliation. I have let go of my anger. I am not bitter anymore. But I also do not owe anyone access to my life. Forgiveness is for my peace, not their comfort. Now, I am happy. I have a good job, a healthy relationship, and supportive friends. I moved into a bigger one-bedroom apartment in a better neighborhood. I am even thinking about adopting a dog. Life is not perfect, but it is mine. I think about the car, sometimes the one Amber wrecked. At first it felt like the end of the world. Now I realize it was just a car. What mattered was how I responded. I chose self-respect over obligation. I chose my peace over their approval. And I would make that choice again. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is walk away from people you once called family. But sometimes it is also the bravest. Because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. And I can honestly say I am proud of the person I have become. Not despite what happened, but because of it. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had to set a hard boundary with someone close to you? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear your stories. And if you found value in mine, do not forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who might need to hear it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope my story helps you find the courage to protect your own peace. Take care of yourselves out there, and remember you deserve respect even from family. See you in the next one.